Marson Waters was not the best knight of the King's Guard, or particularly good man, as many scholars believe, but few can argue that he acted as a true Kingsguard knight in the end, following his king's orders and losing his life as a result. Had he been part of the plot to kill the king? We will never know. The question is, what made Sir Marsden so quickly and suddenly change his stance and obey his king's command to release his former hand, Lord Rowan, and bring justice to the plotters, ending the siege of Maegor's Holdfast? For those who believed Sir Marsden was part of the plot, they would say he saw the tide turning and swapped sides. Others that his duty as a knight of the King's Guard outweighed his power as the hand in his heart. But in truth, one event swayed the knight, the discovery of the false confession of Lord Rowan, and to make sense of his action we must look back to the 12th day of the siege. Though bastard-born, Marson Waters had achieved knighthood and a modest place in the retinue of King Aegon II, but his rise would likely have ended there, if not for his kinship to certain fisherfolk on Dragonstone, which led to Larys Strong to choose him above 100 better knights to hide the king during Queen Rhaenyra's ascendancy. In the years since, Waters had climbed higher indeed, becoming Lord Commander of the Kingsguard over knights of better birth and far greater renown. As the hand of the king, he would be the most powerful man in Westeros until Aegon III came of age. But at the crux, he hesitated, weighed down by his vow and his own bastard's honour. Unwilling to dishonour his white cloak he wore by ordering an attack upon the king he had sworn to protect, Sir Marsden forbade ladders, grapples and assault, and continued to put his trust in reasoned words and perhaps in hunger, for the supplies within the holdfast could not last much longer. Lord Rowan was brought forth in chains to confess his offences. In front of the king, Septon Bernard detailed Lord Rowan's alleged crimes. He had taken bribes in the form of gold, had sent Mairedo Roget to the Vale to dispose of Sir Arnold Arryn of his rightful inheritance, and had conspired with the Oakenfist to remove Unwin Peake as hand of the king, and helped loot the Roget Bank of Lys, thereby defrauding and impoverishing many good and leal men of Westeros of noble birth and high station, had appointed his own son to a command for which he was manifestly unworthy, leading to the death of thousands in the Mountain of the Moon. Most terrible of all, his lordship was accused of having plotted with the 3 Rogers to poison the king and his queen, so to place Prince Viserys on the Iron Throne with Lara of Lys as his queen. The poison used is called Tears of Lys, Bernard declared, an assertion that Grand Maester Munkin then confirmed. Though the 7 spared you, sire, Bernard concluded, Lord Rowan's foul plot to the life of your young friend, Gaemon. When the Septon had completed his speech, Sir Marson Waters said, Lord Rowan has confessed to all these crimes, and beckoned the Lord Confessor, George Graceford, to bring the prisoner forward, manacled at ankle with heavy chains, his face so bruised and swollen as to be unrecognisable. Lord Thaddeus did not move at first, until Lord Graceford pricked him with the point of his dagger, whereupon he said in a thick voice, Sir Marson speaks truly, your grace. I have confessed to all. Lotho promised me 50,000 dragons when the deed was done, and another 50 when Viserys took the throne. The poison was given to me by Rogerio. So halting was his speech, so slurred the words, that some upon the battlements thought that his lordship must be drunk, till Mushroom pointed out that all his teeth were missing. The confession left King Aegon bereft of speech. All that the boy could do was stand and stare, with such despair upon his face that Mushroom feared his grace might be about to leap from the battlements onto the spikes below, to rejoin his first queen. It fell to Prince Viserys to make an answer. And my wife, Lady Lara, he shouted down, was she part of the plot too, my lord? Lord Rowan gave a heavy nod. She was, he said. And what of me? Asked the prince. Aye, you as well, his lordship answered dully. An answer that seemed to surprise Marson Waters, whilst greatly displeasing Lord Graceford. And Gaemon Powhair? 'Twas he who put the poison in the tart, I venture, Viserys went on guibily. If it please my prince, mumbled Lord Rowan. Whereupon the prince turned to the king, his brother, and said, Gaemon was as guilty as the rest of us, of nothing. And the dwarf Mushroom called down, Lord Rowan, was it you who poisoned King Viserys? To which the old hand nodded, saying, It was, my lord, I do confess it. The king's face grew hard. Sir Marsden, he said, this man is my hand, and innocent of treason. The traitors here are those who tortured him to bring forth this false confession. Seize the Lord Confessor if you love your king, else I will know that you are false, he said. His words rang across the inner ward, and in that moment the broken boy King Aegon III seemed every inch a king. Sir Marsden obeyed. Whether part of the plot or for the love of his king, He released the former Hand, and that moment the conspirators knew the game was up. The ruse had been discovered. Regardless of the speculation of his own involvement, Sir Marsden would give his life during the investigation of the plot to kill the king. But his singular choice on the battlements of Maegor's Holdfast to listen to his king more than likely changed the course of history in the Seven Kingdoms forever.